Have you ever noticed how the people who hold everyone else together are usually the ones falling apart the most quietly? There's something strange about the way they rush to save others, even when no one asked. Something almost urgent in the way they patch up other people's wounds while pretending their own don't exist. They're the healers who never heal themselves, the helpers who feel guilty needing help, the ones who offer softness to everyone except the person in the mirror. But why? Why does someone become the fixer? Why does helping others feel safer than being helped? And more importantly, what is the fixer really afraid will happen if they finally stop holding everything together? Today, we're going deep into the hidden psychology of someone who always fixes others. You didn't wake up one day and say, "I'm going to be the one who solves everything." No, fixers aren't born. They're shaped. Maybe you grew up in a house where emotions were loud, explosive, unpredictable, or maybe the opposite. Everything was silent, tense, repressed. Either way, you learned the same lesson. If I step in, things won't fall apart. You became the emotional translator, the peacekeeper, the one who apologized first, the one who listened more than anyone listened to you. The one who said, "I'm fine," even when you weren't. And the truth is, you were just a child learning how to adapt to situations that never should have been your responsibility. Psychologists call this parentification, where children take on adult emotional roles far too early. It rewires how you love, how you connect, how you feel safe. That early training becomes muscle memory. As an adult, you're scanning the room for tension before anyone else feels it. You're identifying emotional danger before others even notice the shift in the air. You're stepping in, smoothing things over, fixing problems that aren't yours. Not because you want control, but because chaos still scares you. Silence still scares you. Disappointment still scares you. You think you're helping others, but often, you're protecting yourself. Here's what's fascinating. When you help others, your brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. You feel close, connected, important. When someone says thank you, you feel seen. When someone says, "I don't know what I'd do without you," you feel valued. When someone turns to you first, you feel chosen. It feels good, really good, because deep down, a part of you still craves the warmth you didn't always receive. Fixers often have anxious attachment, that constant need to prove worth through actions. If I'm useful, they won't leave. If I solve their problem, they'll stay close. You mistake being needed for being loved. You confuse being relied on with being valued. You see your worth in what you can do, not who you are. And so the cycle continues. You help, they depend. You feel needed, you feel safe. For a moment, but only for a moment. Here's the truth. Fixers rarely ask for what they need, because they don't know how, because it feels dangerous, because needing makes them feel weak. You've spent years being the strong one, the steady one, the dependable one. So when you finally feel overwhelmed, you freeze, you shut down, you retreat into silence. You tell yourself, "It's not that big of a deal. I can handle it. They have enough going on. I don't want to add to their plate." But beneath those excuses, there's a deeper fear. What if I'm only lovable when I'm useful? What if the moment I need something, they disappear? What if they see the messy parts of me and decide I'm too much? Children who grew up without emotional safety often become adults who fear emotional dependence. So they become hyper-independent instead. They build walls around their heart and call it strength. But the truth is, it's loneliness. A very quiet, very heavy loneliness. And the saddest part? Nobody sees it, because you don't let them. This is where it gets complex. Fixing others isn't just emotional habit, it's psychological armor, a shield, a strategy, a way to avoid confronting your own pain. Here are the core psychological drivers behind it. 1. Mirror neurons and emotional hyper-awareness. You're highly sensitive to the emotions around you. Your brain mirrors other people's pain quickly. If someone is hurt, you feel it as if it were your own. And because it hurts, you fix, not just for them, but to stop the emotional echo in you. 2. Childhood conditioning. If you grew up managing emotions, you now feel responsible for everyone's emotional state, even when it's not your job, even when it's not logical. 3. Avoidance of your own wounds. By focusing on fixing others, you avoid facing the things you haven't healed in yourself. You distract yourself with their problems, because your own feel too overwhelming, too buried, too old to revisit. Fixing becomes a way to run away. But the thing about running is, eventually, your legs get tired. 4. Fear of rejection. You've learned that the safest way to keep people close is to make their lives easier, to be their comfort, their answer, their savior. Because if you stop, if you say no, if you rest, you fear they'll lose interest, or find someone more helpful, or stop loving you. Fixers rarely fear failure. They fear abandonment. When you always fix others, something slowly breaks inside you. 1. Emotional exhaustion. You drain yourself. You burn out. You give until there's nothing left, and then you give more. Your mind becomes tired. Your body becomes tired. Your soul becomes tired. 2. One-sided relationships. Fixers often attract people who take, not give, because takers see the pattern, and they learn how to lean on you, how to rely on you, how to drain you, until your relationships become lopsided, unbalanced, unseen. 3. Losing yourself. You forget your own preferences, your own needs, your own identity. Your life becomes a series of emotional emergencies that aren't yours. You live through other people's sadness, anxiety, and crisis. You forget that you're allowed to have your own life. 4. Hidden resentment. You don't show it, but it grows. That quiet frustration, that small bitterness, that ache of, why does nobody show up for me the way I show up for them? And you push the resentment down, because you don't want to hurt them, but you end up hurting yourself. 5. Emotional starvation. You're surrounded by people, but you feel alone, because nobody knows the version of you that needs comfort. Nobody sees your tears. Nobody asks the questions you ask others. You're the lighthouse, shining for everyone else. But who lights your way? Every fixer reaches a moment, a quiet breaking point. It might be small, someone asking for one more favor, one more emotional dump, one more crisis, or it might be dramatic, a meltdown, a betrayal, a moment of complete burnout. Whatever it is, something in you whispers, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep carrying everyone. I'm tired. This moment is painful, but it's the beginning of awakening, because once you hear that whisper, you can't unhear it. Healing doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start caring for yourself too. Here's how it begins. 1. You pause before you fix. You feel the urge to step in, but instead of acting automatically, you breathe. You ask, is this mine to solve? Do I have the energy for this today? Am I helping, or am I rescuing out of fear? Even a 3-second pause can change your life. 2. You learn to sit with other people's emotions. Fixers panic when others feel pain, because it triggers memories of chaos. But here's the truth. Other people's feelings are not your responsibility. You can support without absorbing. You can care without collapsing. 3. You admit you have needs. This is the hardest part. Saying the words, I need help. I'm overwhelmed. I'm struggling. I can't do this alone. The first time feels terrifying. The second time feels awkward. The third time feels human. 4. You build relationships based on mutuality. Not, I fix, you take, but we support each other. A two-way emotional street. 5. You allow yourself to break. Not permanently, just enough to heal. Because healing requires release. It requires honesty. It requires softness. And you've denied yourself softness for too long. Here's the most important truth of all. You didn't start fixing because you wanted power. You started fixing because you wanted love. Because you wanted stability. Because you wanted connection. Because you wanted to feel safe in a world that didn't always feel safe. You became the healer because no one knew how to heal you. You became the strong one because no one showed you strength. You became the fixer because no one ever fixed things for you. Your behavior makes sense. Your psychology makes sense. Your heart makes sense. And you are not broken for being this way. You are human. Beautifully, painfully human. There's something strange about the people who fix others. They look strong, but they're fragile in places no one sees. They look selfless, but they're starving for the care they give away. They look whole, but they've been stitching themselves together in the dark for years. If you're someone who always fixes others, please hear this. You're not responsible for carrying the world. You're not obligated to save everyone. You don't need to be the glue that holds everything together. You deserve support. You deserve rest. You deserve gentleness. You deserve love that doesn't depend on what you offer, but who you are. And maybe, just maybe, the greatest gift you could ever give the world is a version of you that no longer bleeds to keep others warm. Heal yourself. Rest your hands. Let someone hold you for once. Because even the strongest hearts need a place to fall apart. And even the fixers deserve to be fixed.